Good afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. Today is January the 10th, 2023. Trading and investing of any kind carries risk. Everything discussed here is for entertainment purposes only and not to be taken as financial advice because I don't give financial advice. First of all, subscribe, like, notification bell, share. Takes just a second to click that little like. Means the world to me, but doesn't really mean anything to most people, which I get, and that's fine. So it doesn't hurt your feelings to hit that little check. Don't be stingy with your little likes. It's not that difficult. So, all right, let's look at where we are here. So we are in a very interesting place, at least the way that I see this, because we're in one of those weird situations where we can go either direction. And the reason I say that is we have this shark pattern pulled down, completed in this area. We've retraced. We've not quite retraced 50% if you measure it from the top, but if you measure it from right here in this area, we technically have. So that's kind of here nor there, or neither here nor there, I guess. So it really just depends on how you want to look at it and how you want to measure it. So, but if we were to give ourselves just a little bit of leeway, we've hit that. So the interesting thing here is that we've gotten to 50%, which we've gotten into a harmonic retrace. So we've got enough of a retrace to be able to consider this the start to a harmonic pattern. But if you want to look at it this way, from bottom to top, when we had that pullback yesterday and into the aftermarket session of yesterday, we also entered another 38% retrace back to the downside, which now means we could easily go and complete a W, or we could just keep pulling down to form a lower side of another pattern, or we could just pull down and make this that ABCD we talked about before. So it's a weird spot to be in, and now is where doing your research and your convictions come in. And I don't mean Twitter, with all your people on Twitter and people saying, oh, the market's going to fall, or if you listen to Kramer, he's going to tell you whatever he tells you, you can probably bet it's going to do the opposite. So yeah, we're in this weird area. I wouldn't call it weird, I guess, but we're just in this spot that you just got to play it as you see it, unless you have a conviction one way or the other. So my plan still has not changed. I have, like my plan hasn't changed. So if we do have a deeper pullback, I would expect that pullback to really not go much further than here. Okay, so I would expect it to not go much further than this trend line here. If we do have that pullback, and we have a deeper pullback and we start to build up, like a shark pattern or something like that, I mean, we could absolutely start pulling down to this other line like we talked about previously. I don't yet think that's going to happen. Now, with all of that, on Thursday, we have CPI coming out, and I'm certain we have 3 Fed speakers on Thursday, and then we have 1 Fed speaker on Friday. So my assumption, just based on how today went, is that, as I had previously mentioned, because we're getting into early earnings too, right? So I think next week and the week after, earnings really start to pick up. So let's say we've got this 38 here. Well, what patterns are we looking at? What do they look like? So let's take a gander and just see what we've got here. We've got this, so that is roughly, I mean, we'll call it a 50%, right? Because I mean, it is really close to 50%. So the problem with this is, I mean, it could be anything. It could really be anything. So a 61.8 total retrace, it's going to get us really close to this trend line. I wouldn't be sad to see that, if I'm being honest here. So, and even if we did this 78.6 for maybe like a failed shark pattern, which would not failed shark pattern, Gartley pattern. What am I talking about? So this 78, so we did this 78, we could easily, that's not true, not easily, but if we were to approach this trend line, it wouldn't take much to give us a pop with some ridiculousness that, words that are spoken by someone that an algorithm picks up, gives us that pop, pulls us back down, or gives us a pop and just keeps on going. So, it does become a bit of an issue that we've got all these retraces and they're just enough, to really make a harmonic pattern. So, our retracement is going to be failed, which is going to be around in this area, around this trend line. We could push up to right around in here, which would be just like a simple Gartley pattern. Or, we could start looking way up here for, crab patterns. We haven't had enough for a butterfly, so I think the worst we could do would be probably about a crab pattern. So, yeah, crab pattern is a 168, right? So that would take us, ridiculously far. So, yeah, the possibilities are endless at this point, and that's kind of the thing. You just got to play what you see. You got to be in your convictions. You got to, you just got to kind of know there's, this market right now is set up to go either direction. It really seems to be. So, and I'm going to assume it's going to have a lot to do with Thursday first and foremost. So if we have some, some crummy information come out on Thursday, and maybe we have a pull, maybe it's priced in. Who knows these days, right? So another interesting thing is that based upon what we were just saying, so if we were to measure this to here, that's a harmonic retrace back up to the top, right? So what does that mean? So what is a retrace there? That is roughly 61.8, I think we got today. Yeah. So what we've got there is a potential pattern, an M pattern to actually pull us back down also. So with everything else, now we've got this pattern. It's a smaller pattern, but it doesn't mean that we can't do the same thing that we were just talking about on the other direction, right? Where a 78.6 retrace on this, which is a Gartley pattern, will take us, right into this trend line, right? It'll pull us right into this trend line, which I wouldn't be sad about. If we got into that trend line, turned around and started pushing back up, I'm not going to cry about that at all. That means we have a good solid pattern set up, right? Rather than this little wonky pattern, right here to try to take us up. That's just, it's just not a lot to try to get us up there. At least that's my opinion. So, and the deepest we can go on this is going to be, we'll call it right in here. I say the deepest. The deepest we can go on this little pattern, if we wanted to call it want to call it a crab pattern, we could bounce down into here around 369 or so, 370, something like that. So that's kind of where I'm at for now. Other than that, my plan hasn't really changed. I'm still looking for some way that's going to get us back up to this trend line. There's a lot of people putting out a lot of things like, oh, if you look at this right here, and then you look what happened right here, and then you go further up and you look at happened right here. And yeah, that's nice, I guess, but that doesn't really tell me much. So, but yeah, this is the way that I'm looking at it. Everything kind of the same as I mentioned. So I've kind of talked in circles, so I'm going to stop talking in circles. Let's look around and see if there's anything fun that we can talk about. Don't see anything else really. Let's see here. That tool is working well. The tool I mentioned in the last video. Let's see. So we could talk a little bit about trading today. I'll take a couple minutes and talk about that. So today, everybody, it seemed, everybody and their cousin was looking for this head and shoulders pattern to work out. well, this head and shoulders pattern is not really a harmonic head and shoulders pattern. So it's not that it won't work. I mean, it could work. I mean, all patterns could figure out a way to work. There's a lot of patterns that work in the spirit of just because we're trying to get somewhere. So, but, let's say that you decided to trade today. Let's see what the range was here. 387 to 390. That's 3 points. That's not anything fantastic. But anyway, I mean, just glancing at this, look at this. You got a little bit of an M pattern here that formed. It turned and tried to make this really stretched out W, which I'm going to assume is an attempt at a crab pattern. I could be wrong here, but I'm not going to sit and measure that out. I'm just glancing at it, and that's just what it looks like to me from here. Maybe after hours we pop up there and we kind of finish it off. So yeah, if you wanted to trade this, I mean, you would have had to be very patient. The moves this morning, maybe not. If you were, scalping some of these smaller moves, not too bad. But if you were expecting a pull on that head and shoulders, you probably got slightly wrecked today. So yeah, if you were trading this pattern here and you happen to get in down here because, you noticed the reversal here. What are we on, the 5 minute? I'll bet there's some better information. Let's look. Yeah. Yep, so that's what you need, right? You need stop, pump the brakes, try to push, retest, come back, or you retest and you pull down to the next area. Do that, and then you look here, got that retest, started to move up. So if you took that anywhere down here, I mean, honestly, you didn't really have much of a reason to get out of the trade other than, you were bored, you fell asleep, or you were scared. So yeah, that's a lot of patience right there. If you're going to sit in a trade that long, most people probably would have been better off not trading today. I did trade some. I did all right. I'm not looking at my journal, so I don't know exactly what trades I made. So green day is always a happy day. So yeah, okay. Well, that's where we are. I mentioned this tool the other day. I made a video yesterday. You can go check it out and actually look at kind of the tool and what I was describing there. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's having a good first of the year. New Year's, holidays are over. Shake off the rust. Everybody's doing the things and stuff. So yeah, I will see everybody next time. And we'll see what happens tomorrow with this. We'll see if we get this pop or if we get this pull or if we just sit there and we just wait on Thursday. Who knows? So until then, see you later.